is YouTube video so I can point out like all the verses that really stuck out to me. That is Proverbs 9 and 10. Having an attitude, having a bad day, whatever I may be going through, I need to be listening to the Lord. I was like, oh, okay. So I read the entire book of Proverbs for the month of October. So I completed that challenge. So now I'm just going to go through like each chapter and talk about like what I learned from each chapter. Okay, so like before I actually started reading the book of Proverbs, I actually read like this overview of Proverbs. Let me show you. So my Bible actually shows like an overview of each book before I actually read the book. That's something I do like about this Bible. I got this Bible off Amazon. I basically just read this first before I go into like the actual like book itself. It's just something I decided to do. But this isn't like my first time reading Proverbs, so I actually kind of knew like what I was about to start reading. I just wanted to do like a more in-depth version just so I can remember better and reflect more on it throughout my daily life. So something else I did while just reading the book of Proverbs was I actually took more notes this time because I have read Proverbs before, but I made this journal, which is like a verse mapping journal. It has like a prayer, a context, notes, application, reflection, and a key verse. So what I did was I just made 31 pages of this, and I put the main verse that I liked it from that chapter, and I kind of like correlated like other verses that tied into like that one verse that I wanted to reflect on throughout my daily life, if that makes sense. Okay, so starting out, I'm going to read a portion of this, like the little overview part. I'm just going to read like a little bit of it. So, wisdom, on the other hand, is a gift from God and is the path to life he intends. Because all people are born dead in sin and enslaved to foolishness, only God can deliver people from their impending doom. God graciously gives wisdom to those who, through faith, fear him and seek after him with all of their heart. Wisdom fosters a love for God, fulfillment in life, and intimacy with God in the life and the next. I don't know why intimacy always gets me when I read that word. I don't know what it is, but anyway. But another verse that was over here was, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. That is Proverbs 9 and 10. That's a good verse. Okay, so I got my notes and everything. So I'm going to start out in chapter 1. So in chapter 1, it just starts out with the purpose of Proverbs. Proverbs 1 and 7, which is, fear of the Lord is a foundation of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. So really from chapter 1, what I really wanted to gain was more wisdom. Like when I talk to people, I want to be more like intentional like with the words I say to people. Like I want them to be able like to reflect on like the things I said to them, not just going in one ear and out the other. A reflection I had from chapter 1 was, all who listen to the Lord will live in peace, untroubled by the fear of the Lord. So throughout my daily life, I need to be listening to the Lord, regardless of me having an attitude, having a bad day, whatever I may be going through. I need to be listening to the Lord. Okay. So that was my reflection on chapter 1. Now we got chapter 2, which basically discussed the benefits of wisdom. So chapter 1 started out with the purpose of Proverbs and the purpose of like having wisdom throughout your daily life. And now chapter 2 discusses the benefits of having wisdom. I like how to correlate. That's cute. Proverbs 2 and 2, it states, tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. So that was from the NLT translation. I will read some verses from my Bible. Like I said, my Bible is going to read a different translation than the ones I have written on my journal. Back to the verse, it states, tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. So something I reflected on with this chapter was I really need to reflect on like the wisdom I receive from other people or like the videos I'd be listening to for me to gain more wisdom. And I need to also concentrate on myself with gaining more wisdom. For you to have wisdom, you got to be able to also receive wisdom from other people that's like when they're talking to you. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. The application I had from this chapter was I need to live a righteous life because only the godly will live in the land and those with integrity will remain in it. So I need to be godly while I'm here on earth so I can be able to make it into heaven when I pass away. So that is something I'm really into right now. I won't even say like into right now. Like that's something I'm living by. Like this is not just like an era or nothing. Like this is going to be my daily lifestyle. I need to be in tune with God, constant communication with God. Like I cannot go a day without talking to God. Like I must continue to be in His Word, like talk about His Word, and really just spread the word to other people, not even just like to myself. That's why I'm starting this YouTube channel, because I want to be able to like spread to other people. So next we have chapter 3, which is trusting in the Lord. So the key verse I highlighted with chapter 3 was chapter 3 verses 5 through 6, which is trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. That was verses 5 through 6. I really liked that verse because I need to understand the true meaning of living by God. I feel like it's different for you to like know God versus like obeying His word. Like I think a lot of people say like, "Oh, I know God, I trust God," but I really feel like it's different when you actually like living and obeying His word. Kind of that's something I'm to the point in my life now to where I really want to obey His word, not just walk around saying, "Oh, I know His word," "Oh, I know God got me," "Oh, I trust God." I really want to walk and like obey His word and show that I have faith in Him and that I'm obeying His word. That is why I think it's so important that we do trust in the Lord and allow Him to guide us throughout our daily life so that we're able to like reflect on like the goodness that He has done over our life for like the past, the present, and the things that are coming in the future. So that was the key verse I highlighted. Then another verse I highlighted was Proverbs 3 and 15, which is wisdom is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. That is another reason why I also want to be sure I have wisdom. I feel like it's really important to me to have wisdom as like a person that aspires to be a wife one day and a mother one day. I want to have like wisdom like when I talk to them. I don't want to just like be leading no one I know astray. I think that's pretty much it for that chapter. Okay, I had to make sure I wasn't skipping over nothing because I did make some notes like in my actual like Bible, so that's why I was like, hold on, like did I miss something? Let me make sure I didn't miss nothing. So now we got chapter 4. So the main verse I had picked was Proverbs 4 and 13, which says, "Take hold of my instructions, do not let them go, guard them, for they are the key to life." So that is like what I said in my last YouTube video when I said the Bible is bread to life. That is why I look at the Bible as a bread to life for myself, because these are like the key instructions that I need to follow in my life so I can make it to heaven when I pass away. Because that is the goal, is to make it into heaven. So some more verses that I tied into that main verse was Proverbs 4 and 25, which is look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. So my application from this chapter was for me to like throughout my life, I need to not get sidetracked. I need to keep my feet from following evil. So like with me being like in my young 20s, I feel like it's very crucial for me to follow the path of God because I'm at a young age. Because I'm at the age to where like I don't have a desire to like drink, smoke, party, none of that. Like what I'm doing right now, that is my daily desire. So I feel like it's kind of hard for I guess other people to look at things the way I look at it because I don't have a desire to do none of those things. Like this is like my actual like desire, but like for other people it may be harder because that may be something that they want to do, but they're trying to steer away from that. That is why I always say it's important to like go to church, go to Bible study, get people around you that's also like in the word, also trying to grow into the word so that you're able to hold each other accountable. So that is pretty much what I learned from chapter 4. Okay, so now we have chapter 5, which is avoiding immoral women. So like the main verses that I put was verses 1, which was, "My son, pay attention to my wisdom, turn your ear to my words of insight." Then it was also verse 3, which is, for the lips of the adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. So my application from this chapter was, learn how to avoid immoral women. When I have kids, and I'm blessed to have with a baby boy, I will teach him how to avoid immoral women. I feel like with me having a son one day, or God blesses me with a son, I feel like it's really crucial for me to inform him about immoral women, because like, as he grew up and start dating different women, I want him to also be into like the word and know how to look for like a woman, like what to look for in a woman. Be sure you're not getting an immoral woman. That's like something I reflected on in this chapter. That was the only thing with that chapter. So next we have chapter 6, which is basically like the lessons for daily life. The main verse I picked out of the chapter was Proverbs 6, verse 6. Take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bone. Learn from the ways and become wise. And it is so ironic because when I read this chapter this day, I was outside the same day. And I was outside and I looked at an ant and I seen how an ant was like carrying like some little like food on his back, and I just correlated that with this. Then something else I correlated with that verse was Proverbs 16, 17, 18, and 19. I was stunned after reading that. Like I was kind of like, oh, wow. I was like, oh, okay. Even not even just reading Proverbs, but sometimes like when I read my Bible, I be having like to step back and be like, whoa. I don't know. Sometimes I just even be speechless. So another verse that stood out to me was Proverbs 6, verses 10 and 11. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little foldings of the hand to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief in the night, like an armed man. I remember when I listened to that verse, it was like one morning while I was getting ready for work. And I remember like when I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness. And it's like, ever since I read that verse and like my alarm be going off, I be having a hard time snoozing it. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like, if I snooze my alarm in the morning time trying to go back to sleep, this verse is like constantly like in my mind while I'm trying to get some more sleep. No, get up. Now we have chapter 7, which is another warning against adulterous women. The main verse I had from this chapter was verse 4, which was, love wisdom like a sister, make insight, and be loved member of your family. That verse really just meant to me was I need to continue to love wisdom, seek out the wisdom, and bring wisdom into my family. I need to be producing wisdom and also consuming wisdom. That is really all I really have for chapter 7. I didn't really have too much. Like I said, I want to continue to like inform my kids about immoral women and just stuff like that, and having a relationship with wisdom. Okay, next we have chapter 8. The verse I chose for chapter 8 was verse 11, which was, for wisdom is far more valuable than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. I really liked that verse. I thought that verse was cute. I don't know. I just thought it was like a little sprinkle on top. Okay, after reading this verse, I found like a lot of like different verses that correlated back to that main verse. I'm gonna show y'all. I don't know if y'all can see. So I'm going to read like some of those like other verses that I correlated back to that verse 11. Then verse 17 was, I love those who love me, and those who seek me will find me. Okay, and then it was verses 32 through 36. This was the last chunk that I related back to verse 11. Now then, my children, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Do not disregard it. Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my doors, waiting at my doorway. For those who find me find life and receive favor from the Lord. But those who fail to find me harm themselves, and they will hate me and love death. I don't know. Sometimes, like, when I read the Bible, I be having, like, stuff, like, take a step back and, like, reflect on myself. Like, when you start reading the Bible more and start getting, like, more for, like, your own understanding and, like, reading it more and not just letting it, like, be told to you, but actually, like, getting, like, your own understanding from it, I feel like it's different. Like, I don't know, it gets my mind going differently. I don't really know how to explain it. That's why I'm always encouraging, like, other people, read the word for yourself. I always want to gain more wisdom throughout my life, because when I talk to people, I want people to actually like enjoy talking to me, like learn something from talking to me. I'm not saying like every conversation I gotta be teaching somebody something. Not saying that. I just be like, I just want to have more wisdom. I just want to like produce more wisdom. And just like I said, when you see me, you look at me and be like, oh, I see Jesus in her. Like, that's my goal at the end of the day. Chapter 8 was basically more like going in depth about wisdom and like what calls for wisdom. So in chapter 9, the main verse I chose was verse 9, which is, instruct the wise, and they will be even wiser. Teach the righteous, and they will learn even more. Y'all don't get tired of hearing me saying this, but the entire point of me reading Proverbs is for me to gain wisdom. So that is why every verse correlates back to gaining wisdom, because that is the entire purpose of Proverbs, is to gain wisdom. Then verse 11 goes into saying, wisdom will multiply your days and add years to your life. Then verse 12 states, if you become wise, you will become the one to benefit. If you scorn wisdom, you will be the one to suffer. My application of this chapter was, I need to encourage other people to have wisdom while I'm also receiving wisdom. Just need to consume wisdom and also produce wisdom. Now we have chapter 10. Chapter 10 verse 3, which states, the Lord will not let the godly go hungry, but he refuses to satisfy the craving of the wicked. So after reading that verse, I correlated that verse back with Proverbs 4, which was, lazy people are soon poor, hard workers get rich. Which relates to verse 6, which states, blessing crown the head of the righteous, but violence overwhelms the mouth of the wicked. Then verse 17, I also highlighted, states, people who accept discipline are on the pathway to life, but those who ignore correction will go astray. Then verse 19 was, too much talk leads to sin, be sensible and keep your mouth shut. That should have been my main verse, because that is something I think about daily. It's like, whenever I'm about to talk, I be like, let me make sure I'm not just doing too much talking. I don't want to just be talking just to be talking. Now that I read the entire book of Proverbs by chapter, that should be my main verse. Because as I look back over the entire book of Proverbs, it is important so that too much talk do leads to sin. And be sensible and keep your mouth shut. Okay, so basically, I didn't really have an application for this chapter. I just wrote down like every verse that really stood out to me. I had a lot of verses that really stood out to me throughout Proverbs. Like, that's the purpose really of me doing this YouTube video, so I can point out like all the verses that really stuck out to me and the ones that I really want to apply to my daily life. I mean, I want to apply the entire book to my daily life. I just pointed out like little key verses that I liked. Like, I really liked it, and like they really stood out to me. That was chapter 10, but that is like the first little segment of me talking about my journey of reading the entire book of Proverbs. So I'm just gonna leave it at like 10 chapters like per video. The next segment will be from chapters 11 through 20 next. So bye, see y'all next time.
And I'm coming back home to you, I'm coming back home.